Hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Let's start today just sitting, comfortable, where your spine can be buoyant, erect, and at ease. And just kind of settle in here. Take some nice, long, slow breaths and kind of focus on those first. Let all the distractions from the day previous and in the future to fall away, at least for the next hour or so. Just kind of push those things out of the mind. Focus on your breath, the quality of the breath, the length, the feeling of it, the fact that when it comes in it's a little bit cooler than when it comes back out. The body's warmed it a little bit. Just make sure to exhale all the way out. Try not to leave any stale air left in the lungs. And then just notice the natural pause that occurs sometimes at the peak between the inhale and the exhale, but usually after the exhale there's a slight pause before the inhale, and just recognize that, maybe lengthen it if possible. And then at this point, start thinking about your intention for the practice, your sankalpa, your reason for coming here, the reason for doing this. Possibly to feel better, possibly to get some answers you're looking for. Whatever it may be. Kind of focus on that for a minute. Set that intention, maybe in your heart center. You can come back to it later. And then we're going to start doing a 3-part Durga breath, which is going to start with, you inhale a third, a slight pause. Inhale another third of the lung capacity, slight pause, and then all the way. And then there's a slight pause at the top, and then exhale all of that air out at the same time. So let's start with that. Let's do an inhale, third, pause. Another inhale, third, pause. And then all the way to the top, pause. And then exhale it all the way out. You can exhale it out of the mouth, out of the nose, as long as it's freely exhaled. And then continue that breath. A third in and pause. Another third, pause. A third, pause. And then exhale. Let's continue that for a few more breaths. A third, pause. A third, pause. All the way up to the top. Slight pause, and then exhale it all the way out. Inhale a third. A pause. Inhale another third. Pause. All the way up. Pause, and then exhale it all the way out. Let's do that one more time. Inhale a third. Pause. Another third. Pause. All the way to the top. Hold it, and then exhale all the way out. Make sure you get all that air out. Now just settle back into a regular breath pattern. Not too deep a breath. Maybe half your lung capacity. Just something that's comfortable and full of ease. And then maybe you can start to constrict the throat muscles, the whisper muscles slightly. And with that, you get a slight friction in the breath and kind of a sound. And it helps you focus. You can focus on that sound. And if you're proficient with that on the exhale, you can do it also on the inhale. Have a slight whisper sound. Now you're keeping your mouth closed around this sound. Just doing it through the nose. It's swirling in the back of the throat, creating a little bit of a, like I said, a friction there, and it creates a little bit of heat. Just notice if that feels different than the breath you were doing before. This sequence of poses or asanas is going to kind of focus more on the chest and on the heart chakra and opening that. So maybe visualize the center of the heart, the center of the chest, the green color, the air element, and just breathe into that. And maybe increasing that with each breath, the size and intensity, just visualizing that. Okay, maybe blink your eyes open. Come back to your physical body if you happen to drift off anywhere for a moment. Then you're just going to want to come to tabletop on all fours. Yeah, center of the mat. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. And then just have a neutral spine to begin with. And then drop the belly, tilt the pelvis. There you go, and look up slowly. And inhale while you're doing that. And then on your exhale, do the opposite. Kind of arc and arch the back like a cat. Push the tailbone down towards the floor. And then on your inhale, back to a cow. Just really feel these poses and work them with your breath. That's the first part of marrying the breath with the movement. And that's what yoga, where the yoga magic comes from. And maybe one more time on these. And then sink back into balasana, which is also child's pose. You bring the toes together, knees apart. Yeah, extend the arms out. Breathe here. Take nice, long breaths, maybe 5 breaths. And then when you're ready, you're going to come up on all fours slowly again. Just get your bearings. Maybe step the feet up between the hands and then just stand up in a standing pose. There you go. Slowly. There you go. And then just breathe in your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Nice, full breaths. Yeah. Keeping your drishti down. That's very nice. Your focal point or your drishti is about 5 or 6 feet in front of you. All right. On your inhale, you're going to reach up and look up. Look at the hands and then forward fold all the way down. And then just let it hang here for a minute. Take a few breaths. Okay, maybe on your next inhale, bring your spine halfway up, flatten the spine, look up. Yep, press with the hands against the shins. And then on your exhale, go back down. And on your inhale, all the way up, reach up, look up, inhale. And then back down to your Tadasana pose, mountain pose. And just breathe. Okay, we're going to do that again. Reach up, look up, forward fold, all the way down. This time on your inhale, come back halfway up, extend, and then fold on your exhale. And then reach up on your inhale, all the way up, look up, and then forward fold all the way down. On your inhale, halfway lift. Forward fold on your exhale. This time plant your hands and step back to plank. Now we're just going to breathe in plank for a moment. If you're feeling it in your lower back, that means you need to bring your hips up a little bit. Otherwise, you're just staying relaxed. You're making sure your heels are over the balls of your feet. Your weight is a little bit forward of your hands. Okay, maybe slowly lower down all the way to the mat. Use your elbows to bend back. Yeah, don't let them splay out to the side. There you go. All the way down. Now maybe just a nice little baby Bhujangasana to warm up. Yep, keep the chin somewhat tucked. There you go. And then maybe take another breath in this cobra. Really feel it. Try to press the toes into the mat. Keep the glutes soft. Legs are active. All right, on your exhale, release. And push back up into plank and then downward dog. And breathe. Okay, you can step forward between the hands or jump forward between the hands with both feet. Halfway lift. On your exhale, forward fold all the way down. And then all the way up. Reach up on your inhale. Now forward fold all the way down. Inhale or halfway up on your inhale. Step back, plank, chaturanga, and then upward dog or Bhujangasana on your inhale, and then Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog on your exhale. That sequence, otherwise known as your Vinyasa Krama, we're going to do that again. All right, on an inhale, step forward, jump forward, walk forward between the hands. Halfway lift, inhale, and then forward fold. Rise up, reach up, breathe in, all the way down, forward fold. On your exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back or jump back. Chaturanga, Urdhva, or Cobra. And then Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Let's do that whole Vinyasa Krama again. Step, walk, leap, lightly. There you go. Float. Halfway lift, and then forward fold. Reach up, all the way up. Look up at the end, and then come back down on your fold. One more time. Halfway lift. Step it back, jump it back, as long as you can do it safely and controlled. On your inhale, your upward facing dog, and then on your exhale, downward facing dog. Very nice. Take a few breaths in down dog. Notice if anything has changed or shifted since the beginning of the class already. Just with a little bit of movement with breath, bringing that prana into the mix. The prana is that energy, that life force that comes from the breath being mixed in the alchemy with the body. All right, now step, leap, lightly float, top of the mat. All right, halfway lift, forward fold, and then come all the way back up to your mountain pose. Reach up, look up, hands to heart, heart center. Then on your inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Let the hips sink. Make sure your knees are somewhat over your ankles, so your hips are back. Yeah, and your arms are up, biceps outside the ears. Yeah, and you're reaching more towards the upward motion rather than the outward motion. So I'd rather see you up vertical a little bit than extended over your knees too far. And remember to breathe here. You don't want to overarch in the back. Keep the tailbone tucked somewhat. Keep your chin and your Jalandhara Bandha engaged. That means to lengthen the back of the neck. Very nice. Maybe on your next exhale, forward fold. All the way down. Halfway lift. Step back. Plank. Do your chaturanga. Upward facing dog or bhujangasana. Upward facing dog, preferred in this one. Downward facing dog. Now you're going to lift your left leg behind you, three-legged, and step that through between the hands. Rise up to warrior one. Just take one breath here. And then on your exhale, frame your foot and step back. Vinyasa. Let's do the other leg. On your inhale, rise it up, step it through. Rise up into warrior one. Now let's make sure your warrior one is aligned. Heels are lined up. Yeah. Your hips are facing as much forward with the mat as possible. You're not ever really going to get there. Okay, now frame the foot, step back, vinyasa. Don't worry, we'll do it again. Downward facing dog. Okay, take a few breaths here. And you're going to step forward or float forward between the hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. All the way up, reach up, inhale. All the way down. Oh, wait, sorry. Back into chair pose. There we go. Now we're going to forward fold. And a halfway lift. Step back. Do your vinyasa. Meet back in down dog. Very nice. Left leg up behind, step it through, warrior one. On your inhale, rise up. Okay, now this time we'll look a little bit more at the alignment. Our heels are lined up, your rear foot, toes are facing a little bit forward at a 45. Yeah. Yeah, you're keeping those hips as squared with the front of the mat as possible. That's going to put a little bit of tension in your right hip. You want to make sure your left knee is bent with your knees straight over your ankle. Keep it safe. Yeah. All right. And breathe. On your exhale, you can frame your foot. Step back. Do your chaturanga, your vinyasa, krama. And we'll do the other leg. Right foot up. And then step it up through and do warrior one on this side. Check your alignment. Make sure your ribs aren't popping out too much frontwards. You're keeping that tailbone facing towards the floor. Yeah. And just reach and breathe. On your next exhale, step back. Vinyasa. When you're ready, you can walk between the hands, float between the hands, halfway lift, forward fold, back into chair pose, and on your exhale, forward fold, halfway lift, step or float back, chaturanga, urdhva, and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left leg up. Step it through, warrior one, rise up. See if it feels any differently this time than the previous two times. If you settle a little bit easier into it. Yeah. Take 2 good breaths here, and then frame your foot, step back. Go through your vinyasa, unless you're over it. If that's the case, you can always modify go to the knees. You can always meet us back in down dog. That's our resting spot or a meeting spot. If you're ever feeling like your breath is getting out of control, then you can wait in balasana or downward facing dog. Get the breath back. All right, are we ready? Right side. Step it through. Warrior one. Same thing, settle in. Make sure you get that breath and the alignment. See if you notice any difference. Then on your next exhale, frame the foot, step it back. Vinyasa, or meet us back in down dog. All right. Now just controlled and carefully lower the knees to the mat, back into balasana. You can either keep the knees together and arms back, or you can do an extended child's pose with the arms forward, knees splayed a little bit more. And breathe. Notice if those sun salutes stirred up anything. You're getting that energy rising. Prana. The prana vayu, one of the 5 vayus, pinch vayus, that brings energy in and up in the body. And then it permeates the samana vayu, swirling around the center of the being, our energy center. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come slowly back into a 4-point stance, tabletop, on all fours. And then you're going to slowly lower back down to your front, all the way down. Yeah, controlled. Now you're going to reach back with your hands, hands towards the palms towards the floor. And then you're going to slowly lift your feet first. Yep, keep them together. Point them out. It's more about length than height. And then you're going to bring the upper body into the whole thing. Yep, keeping those hands at your side. Keeping the length in the neck and breathing this whole time. Remember the length versus the height. Keep extending, and then lower it down, release. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times. And on the 3rd time, we're going to hold it for 5 full breaths. Okay, ready? Come up. Maybe do 2 nice full breaths, and then release. And then this time you can either interlace the knuckles and kind of pull back that way if you'd like. You can float as if you were in cobra pose. Yeah, on your inhale, come on up. Now let's do nice full breaths. Let's do 5 full breaths here. This is an energizing pose. Back bends energize as well as opening up the heart chakra. Just make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath in this pose. If you got to release it before you're done with 5 breaths, that is not a problem. You can do that. At any point during this whole practice, I am just giving suggestions. You do not have to do these poses or these asanas. Or you can modify them, use props. All right. Now just bring your arms up underneath your shoulders. Yep. Now you're going to slide through like a Sphinx pose. Yeah, there you go. I know, slide through is not a very good description. Let's bring our elbows underneath our shoulders. That's going to cause us to have a little bit of a curve in our lower back, so we just want to take it easy. Don't want to force anything. If it's too much, you bring your elbows a little bit forward, and that'll decrease the amount of curve you have in the lower back. Make sure your legs are active, somewhat active. Toes are pressing in, and then, yeah, just make sure you keep the length in the neck and breathe. Now, if you want a more intense, a little bit more intense curve in the back, you can bring those elbows back under your shoulders. Yes, and you can even push up. And that's our next pose we're going to, which is Balasana. Yeah. On your next exhale, push up into Bhujan. And then let's take 2 full breaths there. Now you don't have to do this, you can stay in Sphinx if this is too intense. And then on your last exhale, you're going to lower that back down. And then you're going to slowly come back up into plank, and then Adho Mukha Svanasana, back into downward facing dog. On your exhale. Okay, so just for a transition, we're going to come down to the knees, go into child's pose briefly, maybe a breath or 2. And then when you're ready, walk your hands back in front of your knees. Just scoot the feet out one side or the other. You're going to go back onto your seat. Maybe bring your feet up to the front of your mat, to their heels are even with that. And then we're going to do Dandasana pose, staff pose, which is, yes, your legs are active and extended in front of you. Your arms are extended down. And you're extending your spine. You've got energy lines going out both directions. All the way out the legs and all the way up to from the spine up to the ceiling. Out through the arms. These are all energy lines. And we're breathing. This is an underrated pose in my opinion. This pose can be very difficult if you try to sit in this asana for a period of time. Okay. Kind of relax that pose, release that pose. You're going to bend your left knee and hug it in. And then bring that foot over your other leg. Yes, exactly. Now bring that extended leg curled under. Yeah, there you go. Now you're going to reach up with your right arm towards the ceiling. And extend your left hand behind you. Yeah, there you go. And now reach outside that knee and bring your elbow down and twist. Now, on your inhales, you're buoyant in the spine, and then on your exhales, you're twisting a little bit more. Yeah, and when finishing with the head looking towards your left shoulder. Full breaths here. On your inhale, you're raising, and on your exhale, you're twisting to create more space in the spine. You can release that after about your 5th breath, 4 or 5 breaths there. And then we're going to switch sides. So we're going to do that systematically. All right, yeah, do that. There you go.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're an advanced student. What can I say? All right, so we're going to reach up with our left arm while our right arm is extended down behind us, and then twist and breathe out at the same time. Lift and extend on your inhale, and then on your exhale, twist. Completing the twist with the head. There you go. You're pushing down with your right foot through the toes. Pushing down with your right hand. Taking nice full breaths. On your inhale, extend. On your exhale, twist. After the 5th breath, release. We're going to extend our legs out in front of us again. Slowly lower back, all the way back on the mat. 1 vertebrae at a time. Use control, use your arms. Okay, you're going to bend your legs and bring your feet to the mat. Yeah. All right, Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Make sure you can touch your heels with your hands. Yeah, they're nice and close to the glutes. And then on your inhale, you're going to rise those hips up and scoot your shoulders up underneath. There you go. Yeah, and breathe. Now you want to bring your chest towards your chin, not your chin towards your chest. You're softening your glutes. You're using a lot of your hamstring, and you're pushing into your heels. Keeping the knees together somewhat. About 6 inches, or the length of or the width of a block. You can even put a block in between your knees if it helps. And then on your next breath, release. Breath out. Lower back down carefully. Touch the vertebrae, one vertebrae at a time. Take a breath or two here. And then we're going to go back up. We're going to do it again. And then release. And now this third one, you can go another Setu Bandhasana, or you can do a wheel pose. It's up to you. If that's the case, yep, you're going to put your hands next to the ears. You're going to push through the feet and the hands at the same time up to the head, maybe, to start. Get comfortable. Make sure you're breathing. And then, yeah, take 4 to 5 breaths here. Nice, easy. There you go. Very nice. Now when you want to come down carefully to the top of the head again. Maybe bend the elbows. Take a breath or two. Yeah, and then slowly, carefully, controlled, come back down. Maybe hug your knees into your chest. And take a breath or two. Just carefully hug your knees. Now you can put the soles of the feet together, let the knees splay out. Put your hand on your tummy and one on your chest. Yeah. Notice and breathe. Okay, maybe bring the knees back together. You can use your hands if you need to. Bring them back together. Maybe one more hug into the chest. Breath or two. You can either roll to the side or you can rock and roll back and forth. We're going to come back up to our seat. Yep, that's good. Extend our legs out. Again, Dandasana pose. One more time. Yeah, breath or two here. And then maybe lift your arms and reach up, look up, and then forward fold slowly down. We're going to keep our length in our spine. Yeah, and just let it keep the length. Absolutely. We're not curling or crunching in our back. We're trying to keep it as long as we can in our lower back. And relax and breathe. We don't want we don't want it so tense that we can't breathe. If we're having trouble having nice full breath, maybe back off on your pose. Maybe just notice if you can let things go in this pose. Got another minute or so here. You're about halfway. Just notice what work you can do with the breath. letting things go with the breath. See if you can get deeper. Just deeper in the breath. Start to slowly come back. Maybe gather your arms back under so you can slowly start to sit up. You're going to bring one foot or the other in towards the hips. Yep, exactly. Extended leg, the other leg extended out. We're going to do Janu Shirsasana, but we're going to do Parivrtta Janu Shirsasana with opening the side body. So first you're going to reach your right out, or whatever arm is your extended leg, reach it out on the inside and try to lean forward to your mat with that and lay it down. And then just, let's open up the side body and reach towards your foot. Now if you can't make it to your foot, that is fine. It's all about the intention of opening up this heart space on the back side and the front side. So even if you can't make it all the way to your foot, you're just making sure to open this side and try to turn it towards the ceiling. There you go. Very nice. Bring your head through. A couple of breaths here. Now if this one doesn't suit you, Parivrtta, you can do a regular Janu Shirsasana where you're folded forward over your extended leg. Thank you for modeling that. You didn't need to do that, but I appreciate it. Maybe one more breath here. And slowly come up mindfully. And then we're going to switch legs. We're going to extend your left, if you had your left tucked in, and then tuck in your right. Start with Parivrtta if you're going to do both. Extend your arm on the inside of your knee, and then reach over, opening the side body. Now, if both sides might not be the same. They might be a little bit different. One side might be quite a bit more open than the other, and that's fine. Every day is going to be different. Every body is going to be different. No, it's not good or bad. It's not about the judgment of it. It's really about just trying to open up this space right here on the back and on the front. We do that by opening up the sides here. All right, maybe turn and do a forward-facing Janu when you're ready. And do that mindfully and carefully with your spine. Obviously, you don't want to cause any injury or anything that's sharp or shooting, any sort of pain that you do not want. Now a nice dull ache, which is caused by tension, is definitely what we're looking for. It's more of an intensity than a pain. It's your body's way of talking to you. It's that little bit of intensity, that little bit of sensation. Now when you find that, you can play with that edge a little bit. You can, go to the minimum edge of that, if that's what you're feeling in that particular moment, or you can push it a little bit further. Sometimes that'll, as long as you're careful and you don't take it too far. Watch the breath. Always watch the breath. If your breath becomes short or cut off or sharp, it's usually because you're not in a state of ease and comfort. And that's what we're here for. And yoga is to feel better and not to cause injury, that's for sure. Okay, when you're ready, you can sit up mindfully, slowly. Okay, now we're going to extend those legs out real briefly just to bring the soles together again and extend our legs out, or open our knees out to the side. That's what I meant. Baddha Konasana. This time we're sitting up. All right. So, yes, tall spine. Now we want to keep that tall spine and hinge at the hips and forward over the feet. Now only to where this is comfortable and you can keep your spine straight and extended. We do not want to curl again in a C shape over our feet. We just want to, and for some people that might not look at all like we're leaning forward. We might just be sitting straight up, and that is fine. As long as you're feeling it, somewhere in the hip area, maybe in the outside of the knees, the lower back.
Should I jam my knees down?
No, you should not jam your knees down. You should never jam into any position in yoga. All right. After you've taken about 10 breaths here, you can go into Sukhasana pose, which is just a nice, easy, cross-legged pose. Your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. And we're just going to think about that heart chakra again that we thought about at the beginning of class. And visualize that green spinning wheel of energy. It's an air element. And we're going to visualize and breathe into it. And notice if our feelings are different than when we started. Notice if anything's different. Okay, you can release that. You're going to lay back on your back, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe give them a little rock and roll, side to side. Full breath. Okay, you're going to take your left hand and pull your knees to the left and extend your arm out on the right, opposite, and look at that opposite hand to the right and recline twist. The best friend of a recline twist is a long exhale. Make sure you're squeezing all that air out. And when you're ready, mindfully bring your head back towards center. Bring the knees back over the chest. And we're going to let them drop to the other side. Yeah, extend your left arm out. Slowly turn your head to look at your left hand. You can use your right arm to help the knees come down to the floor, or you can just let them kind of float if that's where they are. It's all about extending those exhales, trying to release that tension in the lower back. And when you're ready, hug your knees into your chest one more time. Mindfully bring your head back to center. And then extend the legs out. Extend the arms out to the side. This is what we've been waiting for. If you want to cover the eyes with something, you do that. It'll help bring us into a state of, a little bit better state of homeostasis. This is our Savasana, which integrates all the other poses we've been doing.
Why are you covering my eyes?
So that we can trigger the parasympathetic response and bring you into a more relaxed state. Okay? Yes. All right. Now just relax here in Savasana. Try to focus on the breath. If your mind wanders and starts thinking about what you're going to do later today or tomorrow or what you did yesterday, just gently remind yourself to come back to this present moment right here and just focus on that breath and how you feel. How did that practice of asana make you feel? Now you can stay in this pose another 5-10 minutes if you'd like. But for the purpose of this video, I would say that whenever you're ready, you can start coming back to your physical body. If you've gone somewhere else, maybe start slowly moving the fingers and toes. Recognize that physicality. And then when you're ready, you can kind of slowly begin to hug the knees in and go to one side or the other in a nice little fetal position. Take a breath or two here and think about, it's always good to think about gratitude. So you can think about that. You can think about your sankalpa that you said at the beginning of practice. And when you're ready, you can use your left hand in front of your heart and push you back up, or your right hand, and come back to a seated position. Gratitude for you and for the yoga, for the ancient traditions, and for everything else. I appreciate it. Namaste. Bye.
Namaste.
Thank you.